refuse to like adopt the idea that me being an athlete, I'm just here to entertain people.
Most people, they'll get them a house, get them a white girl, and they go off into the sunset. Brett say, no, I'm about to go announce Black Wall Street. What made you take what I think should be the normal route?
I think it kind of, in a sense, saved my life. I just take any of these deals, you can't do anything controversial.
And they decide what's controversial.
They make your career seem like it wasn't as impactful as it was, all because you stood on a different side of what the yellow brick road that they laid out. If I can't use my voice, so what are we doing here?
Right.
And them the people that be trying to take advantage of you. If you can't help me grow, build in my community, for my career, you shouldn't be representing, actually nowhere near me. You shouldn't be welcome in my house. Nobody even giving no pushback for it. I'm like, yo, you giving me $12 million?
Right.
Like, I mean, I'll kill it before I get $12 million.
So I'm just really here to just to fill him out. I know he got some good energy that he about to share.
Barry Sam, I'm here for the High Level Save Yourself tour.
From a wonderful man named 19 Keys. And I'm here because Keys is the best. Why wouldn't you be here?
So y'all ready? Y'all ready for Keys?
Peace to the gods! Peace to the gods! Do we feel like we out of time? Or do we feel like this is our time? Do we feel real or do we feel fake? Do we feel low level or do we feel high level? Do we feel like slaves or do we feel like warriors? Do we feel owned or do we feel like owners? Do we feel controlled or do we feel like controllers? It's takeover time. So I need us to stand up on our feet and I need us to make some noise for my good brother, Jaylen Brown.
Just be still and then let the things just flow in your brain. Like you'll start to just think about your day or think about like what you want to do or what you want to manifest. That's God speaking to you is clarity. When you get still.
Anything that's not radical, to me in this day and age is not good. How do we have high-level conversations with each other? We go to the hood, they don't want to have those conversations because that part of their brain is not activated. They are stuck in survival. We're focused on growth. We're focused on flourishing. We're focused on regenerative practices.
I'm Jason Law from Detroit. Due to following 19 Keys, I got almost $1 million in assets free and clear. Come on, talk to the God, man.
Nothing controls you. Not the losses, not the failures, not the ups, not the downs. There's no anxiety. There's no depression. There's no victims. It's just me in control of reality. This is the mindset of a winner. They only imagine themselves winning, so therefore they only win. Peace family, it's 19 Keys. Thank you for watching High Level Conversations. We want to continue to be the best show in the world, so we need your support for that. So if you enjoy this conversation, if you enjoy the value of this channel and the rest of these High Level Conversations, please help spread the word. If you haven't already, please leave a 5-star review. And the best reviews, we will screenshot and post on the High Level Conversation page. And you will win one of many gifts that we have. We also need you to like and we need you to comment so we can be at the top of the algorithm. We're building out the platform that's going to take the culture forward. And every conversation is a piece of the puzzle so that we can elevate the consciousness of the world. Whether you're a small business or a big business, we have different packages that you can come in and help sponsor episodes so we can take things to the highest level. Now, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but if this is an exciting offer for you, then go to 19keys.com/HLC so that you can join the high level team. I appreciate you for being here and I appreciate you for watching this episode. Continue to stay high level. Peace, family. Peace to the gods. Peace to the gods. Peace to the gods. How we feeling today, family? Peace to the gods. Let me get everybody to stand up. How y'all energy? You're looking good. You're looking powerful. What's happening, brother? Peace to the God, man. How you feeling, brother? Pleasure. Appreciate you showing up. How you doing, good sister? Pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to meet you. Come on now. Let's keep that energy high in the building. Pleasure to meet you. How you doing? Blessings, blessings, blessings. What's happening with you, God? Yes, sir. Look at all these beautiful, oh, my brother, blessings. The elders are in the building. It's my pleasure. I want to thank all of you all for showing up. The God is in the building. Let's go. What's happening with you, God? What's happening, God? Today, this all about energy. It's takeover time. It's takeover time. Do we feel like we out of time? Or do we feel like this is our time? That's what I want to hear. Do we feel real or do we feel fake? I hear that. Do we feel low level or do we feel high level? Do we feel like slaves or do we feel like warriors? Do we feel owned or do we feel like owners? Do we feel controlled or do we feel like controllers? Well, I think y'all on the right type of time today. I want y'all to take a moment and I want y'all to be in this moment. In the world right now, we have a wealth of information, but a poverty of attention. There's so much information that's going on, we can't pay attention to nothing. Every single day is like a month. Every month is like a year. Time has collapsed upon itself. It might be a plane crash. Donald Trump did some more wild shit. Elon Musk did some more wild shit. Kanye West did some wild shit. It's like, God damn, every day? But the reason they do that is because they're trying to keep you in a low-level state where you're just reacting to things. Low stimulus, gossip, constant gossip, and commenting on things that have nothing to do with your ascension. So that means that they know exactly what you're doing with your time. They ain't got to worry about you. They can give you the greatest tools on the planet Earth. They ain't got to worry about you. They know today you talking about what Kanye did. You're not talking about quantum computing. You're not talking about utilizing these AIs to create dossiers and self-customization to enhance and optimize your human abilities. They know that the world is stuck in a low-level mode. I'm writing a book, and this idea came to me about the Neocortex. The Neocortex is what allows us to have higher reasoning. It's what allows us to have high-level conversations and philosophies in the first place. It's what allowed human beings to actually evolve, to create systems and civilizations. When we have these type of conversations, that neocortex is being activated. Then I related that to the idea of Neo. In the movie, what he had was a series of high-level conversations that kept him activated so that he was not stuck in this low-level awareness. So he understood what was going on around him, and he had awareness and control over the machines, over the agents, over himself. It gave him the ultimate power. And throughout the book, it tells you how to consistently activate that Neo. You check yourself like, damn, I'm in a low-level state. I've been doom scrolling all day, and this Pakistani lady is taking over my feed. How can that capture you? Because we've been turned into docile little beings. They're ruling governments with memes. They know that people don't have enough attention, and when you cannot focus, it decreases your productivity. Well, if your productivity is low, then your human capital is not worth as much. So they justify replacing you with a machine. And we go on social media and we laugh. And as long as we're laughing, we're giving consent. See, they don't need to use weapons. The kings don't need to wear crowns. They own the networks. And we believe that we can beat them in their world. But you can't do that unless you're activated first. Morpheus, he talked to Neo. That was his high-level conversation. He gave him the option, red or blue. He chose to go deeper into the rabbit hole because radical means to get to the root. So when somebody say, Keys, you radical, you mean I'm just getting to the root of things? Shouldn't we all? Anything that's not radical, to me in this day and age, is not good. So the goal is also, how do we have high-level conversations with each other? How do we bring up ideas about philosophies and what we think when our family members don't want to talk about that shit? We go to the hood, they don't want to have those conversations because that part of their brain is not activated. They are stuck in survival. The neocortex is about evolution. It's about revolution. Where do we take things next? When you're thriving, you're thinking about how am I evolve? How am I going to grow? You have power. But then not only that, the book gives you a breakdown of how to speak, how to project yourself, how to just have off-cuff conversations at any time to where you consistently activate it. But if you're not utilizing that muscle, it's much harder. And what happens is we start to adapt and assimilate into these circles and into these crowds because we want to get along. Our brain said, man, just survive. Don't be trying to stand out. If that's what they want to talk about, then talk about it. You got real thoughts, man, cut them real thoughts. Say what the crowd wants you to say. And the leaders have an unconscious mastery over the control of crowds. They know how to sway you based on emotions. But I thought that this part of the conversation was so important because how do you know when you're being controlled? And this is the most important thing today because their mechanisms of control are so efficient. How many of you all have argued with a bot today? You wouldn't know. They good. I can go program a bot right now and tell it to be aggressive and tell it to argue all of my points and have a whole entire army. And you think you getting swatted by real people on real life. Then I can create a bot that goes against you. Every time you say something, the bots is coming and swarm you. Say, forget this lying fake ass nigga. And now you getting mad arguing with the bot. So now if I can watch that engagement, we know where his time is going. We got him under control. Don't even worry about it. I can run a psyop on you very easy. So that means that if we don't have knowledge of it and we're not aware, then we also can't use the counter tools to attack, to defend ourselves as well. So Twitter is created to create consistent engagement, farming. They create meme coin tokens. Why? Because it is an attention economy. They know that back in the day, white folks was very illiterate in the 1920s and 10s. Black people were super literate. More of us can read. Our literacy rates was very high. So how did they get the white people to go against the blacks that had their own? They would put it in these propaganda-style cartoons, right? They'd show a black man with a white woman and say, look, they taking our women. They about to take over the world. Because they knew that they needed something that was low-level enough to pull on their emotions, right? Today, it's the same thing in the way Elon Musk used memes. It's the same way Kanye West used memes, right? They know how to control your attention in a way to where they will use the AI to do it. They ain't even got to do it. The AI responds for them. This is a different type of time that we living in. When you study the Doge, what is the Doge? Anybody know here? Nobody knows what the Doge is. Department of Government Efficiency, that's what they call it. Somebody look in their phone, ChatGPT, and look up the original Doge of Venice in 626. D-O-G-E. See, they play us because they know how to resurrect their ancestral blueprints to take control. So if you go look at it, anybody pull it up? I want y'all to be used to using your mind and thinking and not thinking that you need an answer. You hear something, you research it, and you go deeper and deeper and deeper until you have an understanding. Because if you're not activating like that, then you're not living, you're not alive. The Doge started during the time it was the longest lasting oligarchy rule in history. It lasted 1,100 years. This is not nothing new. They run these plays. And it was essentially an elected figure by the elites that didn't want to go through bureaucracy, so they would elect somebody else to get these things done. When you see Elon Musk, he may make it look like a meme, but he was running the play the whole time. To buy Twitter, to set it up, so America can install a Doge during the time of the end of an empire, so he can get things done that they couldn't do trying to circumnavigate the Constitution. So it may seem like it's something funny. You may laugh about it the whole entire time. They're trying to have complete control over everything. Every single world that is out there, I say worlds, plural. We have social media. It has multiple dimensions. You got Snapchat, you got X, you got YouTube, right? Every one of these worlds are controlled by who? Who owns them? Not somebody look like me. So how can you beat them at their game in their world? The answer is you can't. The only reality and the only option you have today is to create your own, is to opt out. But when you opt out, the question becomes, where do we go next? So you're ciphering your capital from one system to create your own system. How many people in here got an app? We got a few people in here that have an application. How many people in here sell a product or a service? This is an economy right here, represents a particular GDP. How many people in here heard of Estonia? Estonia is known as being the most digital country in the world. They started early when they see where the digital revolution was going, right? You can go over there and create a business in like 10 minutes. All of your documents are digital. You can actually become a citizen of Estonia. And when you have your business, your revenue is counted towards their GDP. So they created this digital network that represents the future, and the rest of the countries are looking at that as a model that they're trying to replicate. The reason I study these things is because I'm trying to think about, okay, what is the way that we do it to get our own sovereignty? To me, the answer is creating a digital network. How many of you all utilize Discord? Discord is essentially having your own city or your own state, right? Now imagine you have your own city, you have your own state, you all have your own code that you live by. Everybody is voting, deciding to say, yo, we want to buy physical assets somewhere, and we want to set up our own cities. Secondary cities is what we call them. So I've been planning with some people behind the scenes, and we've been talking about this idea of secondary cities. If you go look at, in the average city, Black American city, where there's a large population of Black people, the household income is not enough for them to be able to afford a house. Right? So then what is the dream? What is the American dream if you can't afford it? So the goal would be then, okay, well, how do we create what they call transformational homes? Anybody heard of that? Transformational homes are homes that you can build on top of the land, right? You can end up making like 20 of them a day. So imagine we had a first 100 days plan. We wanted to build these secondary cities to where we say they trying to figure out how we create our own world. And then we aggregate all that money into like a DAO system. Anybody know what a DAO is? We're learning today. What's a DAO? Can you say it a little louder with your chest? A little louder, bro. With the chest, I said. Okay, we learning something. So this essentially is a system that's not owned by one person, right? That means if we started, we all own it. But our voting power is distributed based on how much money we put into it. So let's say, okay, we raise $100 million. And we say, what do we want to do with that? Maybe we want to start a media company to control narrative, right? Maybe we want to build secondary cities outside of, maybe in New Jersey somewhere. I don't know what the New Yorkers feel about that. That's why you get to vote, right? We vote. When that treasury goes to there, nobody can control the money but the vote. So that means nobody can steal. Right? What is the number one problem that we have with each other? Trust. So we be like, let's unify, but we don't trust these niggas. You know what I'm saying? Unify, you talking about with him? He did my bro wrong. So, okay, let's create a trustless system then. You ain't got to trust me. Trusted technology works. What is Bitcoin? It's a blockchain. Most people look at the price of Bitcoin. The value of Bitcoin is not the price. It's what it does. It's a technology. It has been unhackable thus far, and it's a decentralized system, which is the dream of any radical revolutionary. Saying that you mean that we can go outside of these systems, build our own DeFi, finance, create your own bank. Isn't that something we've been complaining about? We've been complaining about social media apps. How many people heard of Mastodon? Mastodon is essentially, each person in here can have their own server. It's decentralized, and people can jump into your world on your social media application, right? That means that we can have decentralized apps. How many solutions we getting so far? It's a lot. My thing is, I want you all to understand, why don't we know anything about this? How is it that we got all this black media, all these black podcasts, all this so-called black conversation, but no solutions? That means it's all low-level conversation. That also means to me that it's controlled low-level conversations. Because they know these things exist, but they don't want to give you real tools and real solutions, so you see progress as ownership instead of symbolism. How did they do this? Any Pan-Africans in the building? None of that. Y'all done with that, huh? Trying to see. I had a video about this, and I was doing some studying. And the video title was Pan-Africanism is a PSYOP. Now that almost caused some controversy until people actually watched the video. And I was giving a breakdown of how in the 60s, the CIA was funding groups to have these Pan-African conversations. Now, why do you think they was doing that? Anybody? It is because they wanted you to see the cultural symbolism, the feeling of being an African as more important than actual ownership. So what did the Nation of Islam have? Who was the greatest economic blueprint builder? Elijah Muhammad. But when we talk about history, we talk about what? Black Wall Street. O.W. Gurley. We want to make it seem like it happened 100 years ago. It didn't happen 100 years ago. He had an economic blueprint. He had an aviation trust school. He had banks. He had supermarkets. He had a temple almost in every city, a school almost in every city, right? They had restaurants, right? They created jobs and businesses. But how come we not taught this? That means there's a version of history in every one of you all head. A version of history. But whose? His story, not our true story. Our true story, he'd be like, wait a minute, that was an economic blueprint. He gave an economic model of how each person at the time can get 5 cents. We're going to need a little more than that, right? If you adjust it for how much they was making during that time, it was a brother during the meeting they called Savers Day, and he said, they act like we just doing pennies over here. He said, our estimated revenue this year is $50 million. Adjusted in today's time, that's $500 million. So that means that we have an economic blueprint to follow. Then if you adjust that by adding decentralized tools like blockchain on top of it, we can supercharge and get something done in 100 days. And any problems that was happening during that time with people that they couldn't trust, we ain't got that problem no more because we have a trustless system utilizing this technology. So they said, we don't want black people to take up this mindset that progress represents ownership, right? That progress represents us creating our own businesses and equity instead of civil rights. Right? We wanted y'all to just focus on equality and the gestures of it. So they would fund these conversations with some of the scholars in Africa and academia, and also they wanted them to paint America in a nice light at the same time. So instead, no, just wear the Kunta Kinte cloth. Just feel like you winning, right? Just get you a new bill passed. Instead of saying that, no, we own the bus systems, that's progress, right? We own the building, that's progress. I'm my own landlord, that's progress. I go to my own grocery store, that's progress. We started counting black progress as what white folks allow us to have instead of what we have our own. So they changed the narrative. Not only did they do that one time, how many of you all are deeply familiar with the Seminoles? What if I told you that your ancestors weren't slaves, they was warriors? What if I told you that they had a 41-year war that ended 4 years right before the Civil War in America? Then you ask yourself, well, why weren't we taught about this in a certain way? What if I told you that the Underground Railroad, they had several skirmishes and battles where they was killing for their freedom, not just running away? It was pure guerrilla warfare and tactics. Then you got to ask, well, why they only tell us like they were just running and had this little network? Why did they teach history in that way? Because they wanted you to become pacifist. They didn't want to make it seem like y'all wasn't scared, y'all wasn't afraid. Every year, throughout this term of slavery, so-calledly, There was a fight, there was a battle, there was an insurrection, there was a war. America spent billions of dollars in today's adjusted time fighting the black Seminoles in Florida. Matter of fact, it's part of the reason they had to have a civil war, because they saying, why are you spending all this money trying to re-enslave these Negroes when we actually need that to build up America? So white supremacy wasn't profitable and it became too costly. So they ran and they schemed. Why you think the black Americans was so good when they got in war? You think they just went straight from chains to warriors? They was already fighting. We was the first blood that was shed in this country for this country on the battlefield. They had guerrilla warfare tactics. They was taking over ships. And I'm talking about during a harsh time of war. To survive a few battles in war, boy, you had to be lucky or cold. And they was both. They had the spirit of the ancestors on their side. They knew the layouts of the land. So when they was fighting in some of these mucky places, they knew how to handle themselves. Now I think about that psychologically. When you ask me where I'm from, I'm going to hit you with the Oakland, but I'm going to pop it a little bit, though. You feel me? I'm from Oakland. You feel me? I want to make sure you feel me, because when I say I'm from Oakland, I'm saying it with a sense of pride, right? When you speak from a sense of pride, you feel like a winner. In the mind, unless you feel like a winner, you can't win, right? If you feel like a loser, you start losing more, because that's the frequency you on, right? If you feel like the victim, you get victimized more. So I can't have y'all walking around like y'all winners. I can't have you feeling like you a hero. I can't have that to be the sense of pride. I need the story that you need to go all the way to Africa to feel pride about yourself. I need the story that you need an ancestral download from a DNA center to feel like you somebody, right? I don't need the story in your mind that y'all was fighting wars and insurrections and y'all was tribal and y'all was inventing and innovative this whole entire period, and scientists, and y'all had scholars before we was free. I don't need that to be the story. I need you all to feel like you ain't shit. Every single day when you walk outside and you starting from nothing, I don't need you to feel like you had ancestors that had plans and they executed those plans successfully. I need you to feel like Martin Luther King was just some dreaming ass nigga thinking about his kids going to school with white folks. I don't need you to think about him being an awakened man saying, wait a minute, we need to boycott Coca-Cola. We need our own economic base because we gonna get exactly what I think we gonna get. But that goddamn house gonna be burning by the time we in it. And don't we smell the smoke today? It's burning, it's hot. And we fighting to stay in it. I'm not saying leave America, I'm saying build your own America. We built their America, we have yet to build ours. So the stories that we tell ourselves are the most important. It's how we go about seeing ourselves, our psychology, how we interact with the world. Growing up in Oakland, I had the story of the Panthers. Radical, resilience, revolutionary. I didn't have the civil rights story. So I never thought about those as my heroes. I thought about men who did something about the condition that they were in. And they executed and they stood on it, and the women were right there planning and organizing everything right alongside. I grew up in a paradigm where I seen black men with money, power, knowledge, right? And if you mess with them, they will kill you. That's how I grew up. I never had this picture of weakness in my life about who we are. Then social media came. And I realized everybody don't think the same. Some of these niggas lost, B. I'm like, God damn. So y'all don't feel like how I feel? And then I started studying. I said, oh, because if I was to take a child today and I indoctrinate them with African-American studies, what type of mind do I make? The same mind that's out there complaining today. If I teach him his story in my way, a way that empowers and invigorates his spirit, he's going to believe he can do anything in the world. But if I teach him that he is a slave, keep your head down, tuck your tail, right? And be careful when you go out there in the world, because they might shoot you and knock you down. Be careful dreaming too big, because Black Wall Street was shot down. But I ain't going to tell you nothing about Elijah Muhammad creating an economic blueprint. Now you should ask the question, well, why did his fail? Well, it didn't. Not in that sense. The idea was successful. His son didn't want to continue it. So then that tells you something about family and the importance of generational wealth. His son dismantled it. So when you're building something, you have to create sustainable systems, creating trust and things of that nature, because a family is how you project yourself into the future. You have a son. I teach him rites of passage, making him into a man, telling him who I am, what my plans are, where he comes from, what his last name means. Now, that's 50 to 75 years in the future, depending on how long he lives. He has a son. That's 150 years into the future. They have another son. We 300 years into the future. Just by one seed, we can control 1,000 years. Who's done that? They showed us a model. Go look at the last names of the products. Go look at how men built America. These are family institutions because it is the best way to take an idea and control time, over time. So we've been focused on localism, right? Local activities. What's going on in the hood? What's going on in the streets? That information cycle is stuck in your head. Then we start focusing on nationalism. Let's create our own nation within a nation. Some people are prideful of being patriots and things of that nature. My Moorish brothers know about nationalism. Then we got social media, and we started thinking about globalism. What's happening in Palestine? I feel for those people. What's happening in the Congo? I feel for those people. Man, I would rather use TikTok than Instagram because they got a better product. That's globalism, right? But what did our ancestors do? Our ancestors had Cosmism. Their connection was to the cosmos. They planned based on astronomy, not astrology. So it's fine that you know your astrology sign, Virgos, Tauruses, Scorpios. But do you know which solar cycle we are in? What solar cycle we in? We in solar cycle 25. Y'all remembered the song. Age of Aquarius. See, coach it gets you, make you feel like you're doing something. We in solar cycle 25. That means that every 11 years, they measure the sun's activity, right? Based on the sun emitting solar flares to Earth. During solar cycle 25, we're at the point in time where they have what they call a solar maximum. That means that there's more solar energy coming to the Earth, right? So that means during this time, there's more energy, during heightened times of energy. One of the worst electromagnetic storms in history happened on the very day that Black Wall Street fell. The exact same day. If you study history, they blocked out radio frequencies and a multitude of other different things. But scientists have done studies and show that it actually affects human activity based on skin conductance, get your heartbeat rolling. And when I was doing my study, I showed that there's conflicts that always happen during those times of solar maximas. So I said, 2025 is about to be a wild year, no matter who wins. Because based on the solar cycle, I can predict that this is going to be a hot year, right? We're going to be hot-headed. There's going to be people going against each other because in a time of chaos where you don't know where to put your energy and you connected to the news cycle instead of the cosmic cycle, they got you controlled. If a woman don't know her cycle, she can't plan around that. And then we're not operating with the moon cycle. We use the sun only. We're not 13 moons in like the Ethiopian, right? We got to go to work at a time where our biological rhythm, that cycle is not operating at heighten. So now they're telling you to work, but this is not even the best time for me to be working and thinking. Their goal was, how do we control your time to control your mind so you never align, so you never on your God body. And because you got some of this melanin conductance, it's actually harder for you. You need more of the sun, right? It affects you a little different, and they did studies to figure out how it affected them, not how it affected you. During those times, it was also times of technological revolution and cycles. So for me, the studying of artificial intelligence only made sense. If our people don't get into this technological cycle, we will be left behind in time, trying to figure out why everybody else is leaping us. So what did the Asians do? They made everybody who went to college study engineering, study coding, study big data analyzation. We study things of culture, which is fine. We should rule those things, right? But we celebrate college enrollment and college degrees without having nation-building skills. So the goal now is everybody that I consider to be the revolutionaries is the devs, the architects, the engineers, the software analysts, the philosophers in today's time, because those are the things that will allow us to build our own. The efficient models is utilizing decentralization apps, right? So that we can then create systems instantaneously where we don't have to trust each other, and then we can figure out how to trust each other later. We figure out how to put things on a code of ethics and rules that everybody describes and say, like in Japan, you know, they put together theirs by the Bushido. How many of y'all watch anime in here? I know it's an anime crowd. What, Dragon Ball Z? Naruto? When you watch those, they be deep, don't they? Philosophical. That's because they make sure they put the Bushido, this code of honor and warriors and the shogun, right, and the samurais into everything that they produce. So they immerse their culture, their children in it, so it shapes their culture over time. Because they know social media have them losing their goddamn self. They don't want to be like us, right? They the original, not like us. And they say that to the whole world. And when you go over to Japan, you can see like, y'all civilized over here. Ain't y'all clean? It feels different, I ain't gonna lie. So when I think about that, I say, okay, what are the top things that we need to get together? We have to get together our ethics and our virtues in a culture, right? And we think it's okay that we can be nothing, right? We can just be just thoughts and bots. And we ain't got to get our shit together. But if we really wanted to do it, that means in every aspect of the culture, we would embed our philosophies of our ancestors that taught us righteousness, that taught us philosophy. So we had a way and a reason we did everything that connected us deeply. Do y'all agree? So that means in our cartoons, that means in our movies, right? That means in our podcasts, that means in our clothes. Everything should have some kind of meaning. That's how you start to shape a culture without them even knowing it. Because it has an effect on your DNA. It has an effect on the way you think. So inside your home, you have to create this environment that forces you to think a certain way based on what you see. You mirror that, and then you produce it in reality. There's no other way but the hardest way. And we keep asking for the easy route. But men are made in hard times. Suckers are made in easy times. And a man is looking for not something easy, but something hard to prove he is who he say he is. So if the black man be screaming, I'm the God, we'll prove it by creating your own world. What we need to create our own world? Somebody said land. Land, land, land. I like that. Y'all already said land. That's all I was waiting for. I appreciate the rest of the answer. I'm just trying to bring the brothers up. Because somebody tonight will be winning some land. Now, how many people knew about this? Those are the people that's eligible. Just to let y'all know. Because they most likely sent the video and things of that nature that we told people to do. I know y'all got excited, but I want to temper that a little bit. So, I have some brothers that I did my last tour with, man. They are incredible, and they've been teaching and helping and guide us when it comes to getting our land back, because black people have lost so much land over time, right? And this is our rights, our connection to the soil, right? I want y'all to give a round of applause, get on your feet, make some noise for the Acre boys.
What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up?
Thanks to the God.
New York, how y'all feeling? Nah, New York, how y'all feeling?
So, rule number one of having a high-level conversation, Supermind coffee. Before you get started, make sure that you're not dry. This helps stimulate your humor. Make sure you throw a couple of jokes in there. Make sure they like you. Make sure you smile a little bit while you're talking as well. It actually helps make your tone of voice more soothing to where people want to listen to everything that you say. You're actually more likable. Now, all right, for real, I can't do all of that. But it will help you with your mental focus and any fogginess so that you have more clarity in your thought and your speech as you're speaking to people. So, make sure you get some of that Supermind, because this is for good-looking people. Are you good-looking?
So, Acre Boyz, for those that may not know us, Acre Boyz are active land investors. We have closed over 500 transactions up to date of buying and selling land. But more importantly, what we like to brag about.
Yeah, make some noise for that.
Yeah.
I used to think that was really cool too, which it is. But what's more cool to me at this point is that we have helped hundreds, if not thousands, of other people that look just like us do the same exact thing. So I'm more proud of that we're out here, we're preaching the word and actually imparting this into our community. We're taking everyday people with no previous experience of land investing, that don't know the knowledge of it, that don't know the lingo of it, and they're coming into our community, they're taking the lessons, and they're going out and they're buying land. How many of y'all know that you can buy land for less than $500?
There you go. I see it.
She know. And we're in New York, right?
500 or so in.
I'm telling you right now, less than a 2-hour drive, you can go and buy land for $1,500, right? $1,500. Anybody like $1,500 deals?
Y'all sure about that?
And that's what we're talking about the resources. So we start there. We start with building resources. We show you where you can go and get the land for inexpensive prices. Then we put it back on the market to put some resources in our pocket, because I know a lot of y'all, they have visions of building family compounds. You have visions of your homesteads and things like that. We know because a lot of people hit us with all of these ideas. But it's going to start with the resources. It's good to have these big dreams and have these big goals, but we have to have something that's going to finance these dreams and finance these goals. So we have to be smart. Once we do find things that's resourceful, we have to be smart with our earnings and make sure that we're doing the right thing so we can hit those goals when it's time to hit those goals. Because there's a lot to conquer. Our race, we own less than 3% of all commercial land, less than 2% of all agricultural land, and less than 1% of all farmland. So we got a lot of catching up to do.
Go ahead and get the information from people who already implemented it and double down on that, and the results come a lot faster.
Make some noise for that. All right, so here comes the time where we're going to give away some land and we're going to start somebody's journey into land ownership, right? When we think about the available land and what we can do with it, that's the most important thing. The only thing we should be thinking about right now is opting out and creating our own systems. That's the only hero. That's the save yourself blueprint, right? We exist in a time where houses cost too goddamn much now. The average person can no longer buy them. So they're going to create the plan to say, right, you won't own nothing and be happy because they're going to have you as renting forever. You won't be able to afford cars, so therefore you'll be buying robo-taxis from Elon, right, utilizing somebody else's service. Everything will be as a service. But we can also utilize land as a service as well, right? And once we learn different business models to put on top of that land, as we were talking about earlier with transformational homes, which is actually depreciative towards your taxes, right? Then you can start creating instant systems, and then the people on that land you can serve if you got wells, right? If you got your own energy. So therefore, you're actually making income at the same time. Then what a problem we have is what? Food deserts, right? So then we can create the greenhouses and things of that nature. So the actual real strategies that work, oi cotton, fine. Y'all got people to notice there's a problem, right? If that's what you want to do, we need you out there to do that. Now, how do we organize that energy to say, okay, what are the assets we want to buy? I then give you all the plan. You agree to that plan. You vote and say, you know what? I want to buy the assets in Arizona, right? We want to start building there because based on the way you all laid it out, this makes a lot of sense. So now you have active ownership into something. So you're not just utilizing applications and you got a 360 deal, right? Instead, you have ownership of the applications that you use from the beginning, and nobody owns them but the people. These are models that I believe in. So today, giving away this land to me represents helping somebody to get on that journey to take these type of blueprints and bring them into reality. So would you like to announce the winner, and would y'all like to make some noise before somebody wins? Everybody get off their feet.
Let's go.
All right, Keys, and before we announce the winner, because Acre Boys, this is our 7th giveaway. We've gave away 7 acres up to date for absolutely free. And one of our previous winners is actually in attendance tonight. I told her I was gonna shout her out. You didn't know. She came all the way from Nebraska to be here tonight. She's one of our previous Acre giveaway winners, Miss Mary Lafayette. Just wave your hand. The winner of tonight, I'm gonna go by your Instagram handle. That is Miss Riz Taught You.
Where you at? Oh, she front row.
Oh, she front row.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Congratulations. Absolutely. So this is symbolic of the land ownership. So this is yours, saying that you are the winner of today's acre of land. Now, for those who don't know, an acre of land is like 90% of a football field, right? You can fit like 2,000 square foot homes on an acre of land. You can actually do a lot with it, right? So everybody should be looking and participating what my brothers have up here, Acre Boys. Everybody should be owning land, right? That should be one of our movements. That should be the thing that we're pushing for 2025. We come here next year and every single person is a landowner, right? So we're gonna have a program that you all can get involved in as well so we can actually make that goal coming to fruition. Donald Trump and them had their first 100 days, all right? We will have our own 365 days.
That's right, that's right.
Thank you. And congratulations to the sister. Absolutely. Peace, family. I'm 19 Keys. Well, of course I'm 19 Keys, and you're the audience. And I appreciate y'all being here and supporting this channel. Now, if you really want to support and you feel like you've gotten value, please click that little button over there that says like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you leave 5 stars for the audio experience. So if you believe my voice is soothing, and you believe that this intellect is stimulating, please help support us so we can continue to support you. We are #1 in the world. We want to take over all the gossip casts, all little rumor boys, all of that stuff, and we want to replace it with high intellectual stimulating conversation that shifts us to the next world. So help me help the world by clicking like, subscribe, and leaving the best 5-star possible review you can. Even if you're using AI to write it, I don't mind, as long as it's positive. Peace. Now, we got some more giveaways. So if you didn't win, you just haven't won yet. My brother Quay is going to be giving everybody access to his app for free for the next 30 days that actually gives you trades and signal in the options market. So every single day, they're giving you trades that you can take. It's like the Tinder for stocks. So you can get off that Tinder and you can swipe on this one. So they're actually making you some money, and there's going to be a free financial literacy class teaching you how to trade as well attached to it. So we're going to have a promo code a little later that we'll be displaying that everybody can download. It'll be free for 30 days. So you can opt out, right? But for the first 30, you can definitely opt in. And you can literally make money, right? The trading winning rate is somewhere around 70 to 80%, right? And every single day they're taking them. It gives you notifications, the whole 9. So I want you all to be prepared for that. So give yourselves a round of applause for showing up today. Now, we do have a special treat. We got more things to come. I wanted to be like Oprah today. You know what I'm saying? I didn't tell you about no special guests. We didn't do nothing. I say if the real ones show up, then I want to reward them. So we've been up here talking about Black Wall Street and how we're supposed to move during this time. I have a brother who represents that in real time. We want to see people do for self, right? We tired of seeing our athletes just go for Nike deals. And we like, don't y'all got power to just create your own brand? Right? Aren't y'all intelligent enough to voice the fact that when you get millions and millions and millions of dollars, shouldn't you talk about what you're going to do for your people? Well, the brother that I have coming today has done just that. in front of the whole world. He has voiced that with a level of courageousness because he comes from a background of fighters. His father was a fighter. His grandfather was a fighter. And so today, not only is he fighting for his space, he's actually winning. They actually won the championship. So he was an MVP. He beat y'all team. I'm talking about none other than one of the most impressive men that I ever met. They said when they was about to, and they was calling him to get drafted, I think he was somewhere in MIT. You know what I'm saying? Doing something very intelligent. They tried to say that he wasn't marketable because he was too smart. That means they want to market us just dumb niggas. But he embraced his role in culture and said, I want to build Black Wall Street, right? And he's been working, doing initiatives behind the scenes, but not only that, he was brave enough to go against Nike and say, I'm going to build my own brand. And he put out his own shoe. And it's amazing. I have the shoe. Everywhere I go, somebody is asking me about it, and I had to tell them, I say, if you do the thing that we say everybody should do, then everybody should praise that so that the next generation is saying, I want to do the same. Otherwise, then we're the hypocrites when we try to call somebody else out, but then we don't get praise so that the younger generation is looking like, man, he got to look for being smart, creating his own shoe. It's successful. Everybody is wearing it, right? And becoming prosumers. It didn't match my outfit today. Otherwise, I would have had them on. So don't get that wrong. But my brother actually showed up. And today we're going to have a high-level conversation about what he's doing with his brand, what it means to be resilient, right, in Black Wall Street, because I believe that the time right now is about all resilience, right? In the age of distraction, where you're focused and operating, you're trying to say, how do I stay in flow mode? When every single day there's something new that jumps at you. We don't want to be reactive. We want to be responsive. We want to have the ability to respond so that we're responsible with our actions. So when you have that mode of resilience, you know how to move no matter what's happening. You stay in flow mode. So I believe that he's somebody that stays in flow mode when he's on the court, and he might hear something in the news, they talk about it, but then he still goes out there and he's still dropping 30. You feel me? And they still winning. That requires a certain mentality, and I believe today all of us need to have that mentality, the mentality of a winner. So I need us to stand up on our feet, and I need us to make some noise for my good brother, Jaylen Brown. Can we move these chairs?
I learned how to touch it without you.
My brother could have been anywhere today. He decided to be here with us. You know, I could easily put on the flyer, Jaylen go be there, and a lot of people would have showed up, but I don't think a lot of the right people. I think the right people show up because they believe this is the right place to be, regardless of who's going to be there. And that happens to be you all. But today, we got a superstar in the building, man. I ain't talking about myself. My brother, I would love to get your thoughts. As I was talking about resilience and the mindset of a winner, you deal with so much, right? You have people coming at you left and right. You have the news, right? You have other players, other teams. You have the coach. You have the association. You have so many things, family. And then you have to go out on the court and still be in flow, right? One thing that I learned was that successful people can keep the same stoicness between losing and winning. So I would love to know your idea of what is a winning mindset. How does one stay and develop a resilient mind during this age?
I think you said it, you said the key word, and I think I give credit to it. I think it kind of, in a sense, saved my life because, you know, in reality, I'm a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Shit, me too.
So when people be playing with you or playing with your intelligence or you trying to diminish your greatness or attack your character, like the first thoughts that come to mind is crazy ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But stoicism being able to control my emotions has, in a sense, allowed me to stay the course. Because, no matter if I'm, up or down, no matter how I'm feeling, I've adopted this mentality. I got a job I got to do. It's a mission that we on. I got a family to feed. I got a community to uplift. So I keep that in mind. Personally, I might feel tired. Personally, I might feel emotional, but it's not about you. And I think Stoicism kind of helps you adopt that mentality and that approach. So like, you can take those steps and those initiatives forward. Because in reality, dealing with the media, dealing with, like corporate America, dealing with, all these things that, people of culture gotta, deal with in order to feed their family. It's tough. It's tough. It's a running joke in my organization and in Boston that people be like, "Oh, Jaylen never smile."
On your Frederick Douglass.
They call me Sunshine. Like, here comes Sunshine. It's because I can't be that way in this space when I know like y'all don't operate on the same principles that I operate on. It's not honor, it's not nobility. They hide being mischievous through business. And that's the norm for them. But like I was raised, like if I'm gonna walk through a door, I'm gonna walk through the front door. I'm not trying to come through the side and all that, the angles, and I'm coming through the back, trying to climb through the window. Like if I got something I gotta say, like that's how I think business should be done. Like I think business should be fair. I don't want nobody leaving from this experience feeling like they got hustled or taken advantage of. I think, how to operate on that principle is like how I was raised. That's not how corporate America works. That's not how America works. It's a lack of nobility. It's a lack of honor. So to have to walk in that and pretend like I don't know what's going on, ain't nothing to smile about.
That's real. That's real. Make some noise for that. Resilience is an object's ability to get back to its natural state after it's been taken away, right? When I look at us as a people, we're very resilient because there's many a times that we've been taken out of our nature, taken out of our state, and then we get right back into place, right? Melanin is resilient in the sense that it absorbs harsh radiation and then converts that into energy. And when I think about us as a people, we're very resilient in the same way biologically, we have that exact mentality psychologically, right? Because no matter what happens to us, we get back to it. And we're better than ever. So you decided to say, what was it, 50 million? Nike tried to pay you something?
Yeah, that was an accumulation of...
It was accumulation of deals. How many of y'all took that Nike deal? You ain't... Like, I turned down a McDonald's deal. I thought I was something. They ain't even tell me how much it was worth. I don't even want to know. Don't tempt me. He turned down a Nike deal. Not only that, he created a brand, and he had a tagline in there that said, "I didn't see the brand of the future, so I created the brand of the future." And when I look at your brand, everywhere I go, when I wear the shoes, people are asking me, "Yo, where's that from?" Right? Where did you get those? And it's dope because it does look like a product of the future. I want to know your ideas behind that psychology of creating something that's futuristic looking.
We talked about this in the back, and I think it's super relevant now. So as we talk about, Black history or what we taught is Black history, it's important to also talk about like Black futurism and what we want to see and bring and manifest into the future. So the industry needed change. I'm the vice president of the union, so they voted me to represent all of our players from the basketball side. So I speak. Thank you. And I've been doing that since I was about 22. I'm 28 now, so about 6 years. So I've been on a lot of Zoom calls.
Yes, sir.
But in the midst of that, you know, you learn the intricacies of a business. You learn, you know, how, you know, things operate. You know, you learn, you know, how to build a brand. You learn how, you know, the ins and outs of ultimately a billion-dollar industry. A lot of our players have complaints. A lot of our superstar players have had complaints throughout time. They've been mistreated. Like once they finish their deal or their contract, that they can't put out things as quickly as they need. Like they can't get them to their community or get them even to their family members. Like they don't own their IPs, so they have no say-so. They forced to renegotiate deals post being a superstar and generating this amount of revenue for a brand. And now they forcing to take this lesser deal now that they no longer playing. And like, now it's just knocking them off. Like, I generated this amount of money for your company, and now you just doing me like this. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of players that have this story, but they don't want to share it out loud because of the embarrassment they feel. Mm-hmm. But I'm like niggas need to hear this. Yeah. Because if I hear that story, that make me like weary of even signing up with you. They dangle the glamour of trying to make you a star. Like this is the package. They show you like, we'll put all the industry behind you to make you a star. From this brand to this brand to this brand, they all friends. And they go after who they feel like they can make the absolute most money off of. And they only offer these people you seen on all the commercials, the people you seeing with these big deals, and you think they using the machine to force them to be like an undeniable star. Their talent is already there, but now they're being globalized, now they're being pushed. And all these brands, they are just monetizing off of them. The deals that they actually getting is not that lucrative. Like Jordan was one-on-one. Nobody surpassed Jordan since, not LeBron. And we in a whole different era. That was over 40 years ago. Damn. So they dangling, you know, this stardom, you know, and they push you and they offer you these deals and you getting a few $1 million, but they generating so much more off of you. Right. All these brands are generating so much more off of you and they want to keep it like that. They want you to feel like we're going to make you a star. And then once you get awake or once you finally figure it out, maybe at the end of your career, maybe some I can name have figured out midway through their career and start to speak about it, they take all of that back. They snatch it back from them. They assassinate your character or all these other type of things. Or they try to make it seem like you, you know, not as good as you are. They, you know, kind of like run your career off. They've done that to some New York legends where they make your career seem like it wasn't as impactful as it was. All because you stood on a different side of what the yellow brick road that they laid out. So I think explaining that, I say that just to say, like, people gonna make their decisions and do what they're gonna do regardless. You could tell people, you know, this is the worst thing in the world and people gonna sign up for it anyway. But somebody's gonna listen and somebody's a parent of our next generation of talent, of influencers, of entertainers, of athletes. Somebody's gonna pay attention and go about handling their journey a different way. And that's what I do it for.
Make some noise, for sure, for sure.
The reason why the design for my product, and I design pretty much everything myself, and the reason why I always wanted it to be like the symbolism, I wanted you to see like this futuristic, you know, kind of vibe, because I wanted you to think about like what's next, the next generation. So when I'm, you know, talking about the future of performance, I'm also talking about how the future of athletes need to look and how we need to understand our value, how we need to recognize what's being dangled in front of us and why, and being able to make decisions, because I think nobody's been able to like break it down to the sense, but like, you know, as seeing those deals come across my table and I passed on them. Yeah. Like, because I was able to recognize, okay, they're trying to make me a part of their machine. And that's fine and all, but I don't want to be.
Right. I feel you on that. I think when I listen to you, number one, it's a very high level of things that you're dealing with, and you're simplifying them just based on your values. right? This is what you want to give me, but I don't want it because I'm a man of values, right? A lot of people don't know what their values are until they test it, right? Most people can't name their top 5 core values, right? They don't know what they really stand for. So in those moments, if you don't know your value, then somebody else will tell you what your value is, right? And if you don't know your values, right, then you don't know when you're selling your soul. So your values keep you aligned with who you are so you don't feel shameful when you go home for making a decision that goes against your values. So what I hear ethics, right? I hear values, I hear virtue. I hear you think that I need significance through this deal, but I already know myself. And most of our culture is built off this aspirational obtaining of something to try to feed our ego, to make us feel more than what we are. Because if we grow up in a home to where we didn't get enough love and significance, then we look for that in accomplishments. We look for that in validation. We look for that in deals. We look for that in awards. We look for that in rewards. But when you know yourself, none of those things move you, right? And so when I'm listening to somebody whose psychology is aligned the right way. And most people, they have so many people around them that's telling you, no, take this. What's wrong with you? In a minute, I would have took that. Not me, I'm saying, they saying that. I would have turned Nike down too. I'm saying that from this position.
That's very true. It's a whole industry around our athletes that's like built to just take advantage of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from the agency model. You know, it's obvious, but it's so normalized that it's not presented as that. But like you said, a lot of times our athletes don't know that they're selling their soul in a sense, and that kind of has an abrasive kind of like way to say that. Like selling your soul, but like the deals and things that they offer, a lot of them comes with you quieting your voice.
Right.
Like a lot of when you sign to these brands, that's one of the first things. Like if you say certain things, like we can terminate this deal at any given point. So like if I can't use my voice, then why the hell am I? What are we doing here?
Right.
You know what I mean? But that's like, to take any of these deals, you can't do anything controversial. That's the number one standard thing.
And they decide what's controversial.
And they decide, exactly, they decide what is controversial and what's not. It's not even like, it's like a feel for them.
Right.
Based upon what they feel from the company's ethics or whatever. You know what I mean? You could say whatever, and they could just basically say that this is a little bit too controversial and we letting you go.
Right.
So
which is a method of control.
So it's encouraged amongst our top athletes in order to acquire these endorsements to do nothing. You can't say anything. Be least controversial as possible. And we know that. This is not like this inside information. Maybe I'm just breaking it down from my view. But like, yeah, you can't say anything or you lose everything. You know what I mean? Now you take those are opportunities to start things, to fund things, to take care of your family, etc. So people look at it as like, I need to take these deals. So I can understand that to that degree as well. I'm not trying to, talk down on our brothers that had to do what they had to do. But I'm just making it aware to the people like what's going on. Because some of our athletes, it's such a normalization that they don't even know that what they really giving up. Like you giving up your agency. You know what I mean? Like somebody is letting somebody authorize your power. You know what I mean? And that has a deeper connotation than just like somebody's representing you.
Right.
Like you giving your agency away.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a lot of our star athletes and players and influencers, they don't even know that this is what a form of it looks like. You giving them your voice, or we compromising your voice for, these dollars. If you said it to them like that, cut and dry, maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't.
I think when you really peel back the layers and you look at it like that, and you see, first of all, you realize how much you are worth, right? When you see how much other people can extract from your IP, right? What they realize is that any company is, especially companies that utilize athletes, celebrities, influencers, they're only as valuable as who's attached to it currently, right? Because if they lose the youth, they don't have the influence no more and they get drowned out. So you don't realize that you're making their stock worth billions of dollars when you sign. And they may give you a few $1 million while they're making billions off your IP and your image. Kanye West is very controversial, but what made him become worth billions of dollars today is that he controls his supply chain. Not only that, he controls access to his consumer. So when he tells, hold on now, wait a minute, he be wilding a little bit too. So when he tells Adidas, stop reverting my traffic away from Yeezy.com, he does that, and when he does the Super Bowl commercial, he does that so he can capture all the data, right, of his fan base and his core audience. And now the value of that infrastructure is worth billions because you can sell them product anytime you want to. You don't have to go through a middleman to get to, right, your core base. So now with the influence and the infrastructure, that is worth billions of dollars. And that is basically you realizing your value if you sign for somebody else and say, damn, how is this deal evaluated at billions, but if I don't have the deal, then I'm not worth billions? But isn't it me that's bringing billions to this deal? And he realized that, and then he started to control that mechanism that was controlling him. And so this is where the new athlete mind, this is the futurist blueprint, where the new athlete realized that I would rather be decentralized. I would rather control. I now have media. I have infrastructure. I can control supply chain. I can control influence, right? And I can go direct to consumer. So I become the new institution. That's Jaylen Brown. Now, I want to talk about this economic piece real quick because you got one of the biggest, not the pocket watch, the biggest deals in NBA history, and you did something unprecedented after that. You announced that you would utilize, right, your platform to create Black Wall Street again, which is something that most people would never do, right? Let's be honest. Hold on now. I might not like what I say next. Most people, they go get them a house, get them a white girl, you know what I'm saying? And they go off into the sunset. This is the normal blueprint. Brett say, no, I'm about to go announce Black Wall Street. So what made you take what I think should be the normal route? I'm not even gonna say the radical route because a lot of times they like to put these things as radical.
I like how you said
To me,
that.
it's normal,
Yeah.
right? And we have to expand the space to be like, that's not radical. Building wealth is not radical, it's normal.
And the energy in which we speak to certain things is like, it gotta be normal too. Like it is normal and it should be normal. Like I refuse to like adopt the idea that me being an athlete, I'm just here to entertain people. You know, and they want us to, that's it. They want our athletes, our musicians, our entertainers, our people of influence to think that we just here for entertainment purposes. And I'm gonna forever disagree with that. Like, you know, some of these young people that's coming up now got God-given abilities that you can't even hide. They running and jumping over cars. They rapping at the speed of light. They using their words and their imagination to think things that we wasn't even possible to think. And this is not meant for entertainment. This is meant for influence. It's a difference. Like, so I think this is the norm, you know? So like when they talk about like why I went up there and said what I said or did what I did or why I'm gonna allocate my funds to this, because being a part of a community and seeing some of the problems and seeing some of the things that people of color, Black people, have suffered and through institutionalized racism, through hegemony, through, you know, systematic things that have trickled over time that led to like where things are today, that people like to just pretend like never happened or existed. You know, I think it should be normal for somebody to use their influence and their platform to stand up for their community, their family, to represent their culture, and shouldn't be afraid of that. The people around you or the people around me is like, nah, man, just focus on basketball, just focus on you. And them the people that be trying to take advantage of you.
Come on, make some stand up for that. Let me reshake y'all energy as well. I see some of y'all. I want to make sure we keeping the energy high on this. When we say it's like a new playbook, this is the new normal, is what I want people to understand. I want you to download this as the new normal. Y'all have y'all favorite basketball players that Jaylen keep on beating. Talk to them about this. You know what I mean? Go to the game and yell Black Wall Street. Let's make this normalized. We have to stop making these things like they should be whispered about when our communities are suffering.
But the people that's representing us is like a part of it, the agency model.
100%.
Because they, and this is my goal, this is my thing. I'm a union guy. Because I want to see the next generation of athletes be better than this generation. Like that's one of my goals. But what comes across my desk is that a large amount of our players, around over 50%, within the first 10 years of retirement, are losing majority of their wealth. They're going broke within the first 10 years. So the people, the financial advisors, the agents, and stuff like that, the people that are representing them ain't representing them well. It's not working. How are you play for 5 to 7 to 10 years and you made X amount of millions of dollars and you ended up giving it right back. It's a whole game to give it right back. So the people that represent you is who we also should be wary of, because if you can't help me keep my wealth, if you can't teach me how to handle my business, or I'm 18 years old, then you shouldn't have been representing me in the first place. I'm a firm believer in that. I've been saying that since I came in. I'm one of the youngest players to ever enter the draft without an agent. I came in without an agent. I negotiated. I've negotiated just about every contract that I've ever had for the most part. But even coming out the gate, I took a lot of flack for that, where, obviously, speaking to these things and disrupting a $1 billion agency model is you're gonna catch some flack. People gonna use their resources to make sure that things don't work out well for Jaylen Brown, so we don't have to worry about other athletes doing and thinking the same thing. But I'm thinking of it like this: I worked this hard to get to this position, and there was no agent there at that point, and I used my talent, and now you are able for this deal, and now I got to give you 4% that's untaxed.
4% is millions.
And the people I work with are great, so I want to give a shout out, because I think differently than what the norm is.
Yes, sir.
So sometimes when you're trying to have people that are not used to seeing these models, and I'm trying to force them nah, this is how we doing it now, they lose patience. So
yes, sir.
I want to give a shout out to my team and the people before I say what I'm about to say.
Yes, sir.
But my last deal was for $300 million. Technically, my agent would have got 4% of $300 million. So that's $12 million that I would have to give to an agent, and that's untaxed.
You know what's crazy though? I just started to be an agent. I've been going to school for it. I only charge 2%.
And what's crazy about it, it's so normal. Nobody even give no pushback for it. I'm yo, you giving me $12 million?
Right.
I'll kill a nigga before I get $12 million.
And everybody else talking about, no, we did it too. You did.
It's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the type of conversations I like to have with the next generation, just so they can think about it and process it. Not saying that all agents are wrong and bad, but the whole agency model needs to be improved. I look at that as we need some solutions for that, because our players are still going broke. Our players are losing majority of their wealth. Our players are not turning their wealth and building on it and building empires in their community. So it's the people that are representing them is not working, and they can get mad as they want to get mad, but it's not. I'm looking at all of our players who are struggling from these things, and they don't care, because they just get the rights to get the next player. Why we keep giving them the rights to get the next players if we're not seeing them benefit and they seeing how they did the last ones? But we only see, and they come to us and they dangle these things in front of and our most talented, this is where we go. This is where they go to. We get sent to the same top organizations that acquire so much influence off the backs of us, of our influence. Now
Yes,
they have their own brands. You know, now that they can go and do their own things and make their own investments off the influence of representing a bunch of us. But where's us left after that?
Right.
Like a lot of our athletes is not doing as well as they should be, and they blame it us. We was 18 when we came into we was 17 when you came in and put this contract in front of my face. He was 18 years old, and now I'm to blame.
Right.
You know what I mean? I do feel like we do need to continue to have those, you know, financial literacy conversations amongst family. But I also believe if you can't help me grow, build in my community, help me take care of my family, help me build a plan for longevity for my career, you shouldn't be representing actually nowhere near me. You shouldn't be welcome in my house.
Jaylen, speaking of financial literacy conversations, I see my brother some EYL in the back. Y'all make some noise for my brother some EYL. So you know they got the book, You Deserve to Be Rich. How many of y'all got the book? Okay. How come the rest of y'all ain't get it? No. So, for those who don't have it, we'll be giving away a few free copies later on. So, I have one question for you all. What school did Jaylen Brown go to? Who said that? Who said that? Stand up. All right, my brother, you get a free book. We ain't got the book up here. I just wanted to see you. Yeah, so I appreciate you. We're going to get you the book later, though. Now, I love your enthusiasm. Nah. We got you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
You gonna make him come all the way down?
He got the spotlight, though. No, he going to come back later, though. We're going to take a picture of the whole night.
That's another thing, exercise.
Yeah. No, it's activity. You know, speaking of, right, you be meditating like I do. I seen a picture you was floating one time. And it's a very important thing, right? I meditate. And what I learned, I've been writing the book, the High Level Conversations Only book, and what I realized, one of my methods as a speaker is always envisioning myself speak first. Like I run it through my head a lot, perfecting it in my head. And I'm projecting myself consistently. And as I was studying the neuroscience, it actually aligns your brain, right? So I want to know, number one, why do you meditate, right? Why do you find that that's something important to show people this is what you do?
It's a form of finding self in the middle of like all of this, what people call like the matrix or the distractions or just all the stuff going on. It's like a way to center yourself, like to get those inner clarities, those realizations, those actualizations, because there'd be so much going on. And you ever been like, you know, you ever thought about a situation at one point and there was so much going on, and like 2 weeks go by and then you get like a clarity and be like, you know what? You know, that situation was a lot different than it was then. But it had already had passed, but you just got the clarity on it. It usually happens when it's like a person. Like somebody like was playing with you or they said something and you play it back.
He crazy for real, huh?
You play it back.
He thinking about Stephen A. Smith.
You play it back like 2 weeks later and then you get a whole different clarity from it. That comes from like within. That comes from like you just being able to just separate from like, you know, whatever you was distracted from at that time. So meditation is just a form of like just calming everything down. And people make it seem more complex than it actually is. Meditation is just spending time with you. That is it. And you know, it's become such a hot trending topic in this era where, you know, people have, you know, monetize it and sensationalize it, but it's always been locking in with you. Like it could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, it could be 15, it could be an hour. But it really is just taking that time to just quiet everything down, like just relax, let the tension flow from your shoulders, you know, like everything just like relax and then just be still and then let the things just flow in your brain. Like you'll start to just think about your day or think about like what you want to do or what you want to manifest. And you'll be surprised, like when you just calm everything down and just get still, like you'll start to hear God's voice. You know what I mean? And that's clarity. That's God speaking to you, is clarity. When you get still, And we like to use the word motion because I heard you say I heard you say the word motion a couple of times. Sometimes you gotta sit down. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Sometimes just be still for a minute. Everybody wanna have motion nowadays, like, you know, and it's motion this and motion that, and they trying to get the motion from you.
Right.
Sometimes they need to just sit their ass down. You know what I mean?
Most people ain't got motion, they got commotion.
Sometimes you just gotta sit down and be still, and then you'll be surprised at what come to you.
Right. I 100% believe that. I believe in stillness speaks. I believe when I want to get out the world and go into myself, I like to sit alone in silence and in darkness. And in those moments, you balance the waters within, right? So if you were to imagine a beachfront, if your mind is chaotic, then the waves would be very high. They'll be washing up, right? Because that represents your mind itself. So I know when my mind is clear, it's because when I close my mind, I can see those waters very still and very calm within. And so it also is finding low dopamine things to do so that you're not constantly seeking these high dopamine hits, right, through social media. Instead, I would rather get my dopamine from actual execution, right, in goals. So what we end up doing is, in lieu of actually executing something in real life, right, we're going to social media looking for a like to feel good. But this is not good. Anybody seen that video I did on Muk Mode, right? So y'all ain't subscribed to the content. What I'm hearing. But the idea was that you go out of society for 60 days, right? You cut off friends, family, right? And you go deep within. You start studying, you start reading, you start meditating. You cut off certain food habits, you start fasting, right? You do a complete digital detox. You go into nature more, you ground. So you can actually know your true self because we know our reactive selves, right? Our lower selves, not the ones that's activated from our higher reasoning, right? That neocortex, to where we have real thoughts. The reason why, one of the things I try to do a lot, I say, in a conversation, how can I get somebody to say, I never heard that before? And you can only do that if you're not saying things that's in the algorithm. You have to know what you actually think, which means you have to pull away from it. Think about it. Now you're contributing to it. You're creating. The other time you're just consuming, and what you consume controls you. So if it's negative, it controls you. The brain is looking to survive, so we look at negative things and we blow them up because we need to keep our eyes on threats. So negativity is magnified even though the presence is really small. So a troll, you might want to wring their neck and kill him, but it's only one of them. But he was loud though. I still want to see bro in real life. That's just your brain in survival mode. So you have to realize that you have to be in that evolution mode, right? You have to know you're creating those responses. You're activating the low-level people. They are forced based on their program to respond to you a certain way. Do not react to the response because then you're controlled by what you put out.
Damn.
So we have to be higher-level beings, and that's when we're constantly looking back like, damn, am I activating my neo, my cortex, or am I controlled by the matrix? My limbic response, my nervous system, right? Am I in survival mode or am I in evolution? Y'all know that survival mode, we hear that all the time, man, I'm just making it through. You know, what you doing, nothing, man? I'm just getting through the day, maintaining, man. Same old, just surviving. That's our language. Our language has to be evolution, right? We're focused on growth. We're focused on flourishing. We're focused on regenerative practices, right? So we can be more efficient with our time and our energy every single day, right? How many people believe they deserve to be rich? First of all, I want to gift my brother one of these books.
Yes, sir.
And I want us to take some time real quick. This is what I want us to do. We talked about the future. And the idea of the future is it don't exist yet, right? We're in competition for what the future will be. It is a blank slate. But based on the ideas that you have in your head, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Mm-hmm. So if I ask you about AI, you say, man, the future Terminator. Who told you that story? Right? If I say, what's the future of America? You say, man, Elon and them. You know what I'm saying? Who told you that story? They've been feeding you because you're in their feed in their world that they control that algorithm. So it controls what you think, so you produce their future. They use your mind to nurture their ideas as a womb to produce and give birth to ideas. So if you know your mind is that powerful, then that means that we need to have times. I do this a lot as a futurist. I think about the future I want, and then I prepare for the future that they're trying to create as well. So when things happen, I'm not reacting. I know how to respond already, and I don't get future shock. So what we're about to do is we're going to take some time, and we want to align thinking about a cosmic future, a future that we control, that we own, right? A future where our children are safe, a future where the cars and the design, it's what they call a biophilic design, incongruent with nature. We have neural architecture that makes us aspire and think bigger, because the world has been turned into these digital boxes that doesn't make you want to become more. They strip the world from you wanting to become more by stripping it out of the architecture so you don't look around and get inspired. So that means that it has to be in here first before it is out there. So I want you to think of the greatest utopian idea of the future that you want to create, that you want to see. And we're going to take some time to breathe in. And we hit a ah. That relaxes our nervous system. And in that state of relaxation, that's when we're really thinking and getting creative. Immerse yourself in this moment. Get detailed. Feel the air around you. Put color to your ideas. Live there. Will it into existence. Deep breath. I want you to imagine your future self and everything they have. The way they think, the way that they feel, the way that they move. How they dress, how they smell, how other people respond to them. The amount of money they have in their bank account. The values that they respond to. Down to the outfits that they wear. The respect that they garner from all across the planet Earth. And I want you to align with that version of yourself when you open your eyes. I want you to stick to their habits, stick to their plans, and most importantly, I want you to stick to the frequency in which they live. Remember, if you can imagine a higher version of yourself, you have just expanded who you are. Now it's time for you to fill the void. Open your eyes. Just feel what it's like to be calm for a moment, to sit still, to be in complete control of everything. If you can keep this level of Zen throughout life as you move throughout the world, you control everything. Nothing controls you. Not the losses, not the failures, not the ups, not the downs. There's no anxiety. There's no depression. There's no victims. It's just me in control of reality. This is the mindset of a winner. They only imagine themselves winning, so therefore they only win. Let's control the future, y'all. Make some noise. Get everybody, give a round of applause for my brother Jaylen Brown. And more important, I want you to give a round of applause for yourselves. Shout out to my good sister in the building. Yo, we got a lot of superstars in the building just within this crowd. You have to look around. I definitely want y'all to network. I got my sister Erica Ford over there, my brother AJ McQueen in the background somewhere, my brother Lloyd Strayhorn. We got Dr. Sebi daughter right here. I know y'all watched the episode. And I'm sure there's many more people. And like I was saying, this was about who shows up. In this time in the world, there's only gonna be a very small select few that are chosen. So when you can curate an opportunity and the chosen ones get together, you might not have known this the person you need to partner with, because in our minds, sometimes we have an idea of who we want to work with. And if it's not that brother, sister, friend, or this person that we choose, we become disappointed, not knowing the person right next to you is aligned with the same exact goals and values. They're in the same space as you for the same reasons. These are the people that you need to work with in this whole entire New York area. These may be your future business partners. Might find your future wifey in here. It's all high-level men if they coming out here. Ladies, if they smell good, they got a crown on, get busy. We need more black families. Not tonight, though. Y'all got to get married and stuff. But again, I want to thank my brother Jaylen Brown. We're going to get into a Q&A, but my brother is the MVP of the NBA, and he decided to not only do that, he wanted to be the MVP of his people and the culture by working to help build Black Wall Street. So give a round of applause, not just for him, but for the inspiration that he's going to create. Thank you. And the effect that it's going to have for future generations as we move forward on this continued path, as we fight for our future. It's not going to be easy at all. I promise you that. But everything about my brother here and myself is about us taking an uneasy route to get to a place that's worth it. Every single day we will go on social media and something goes try to steal your attention. I need you to take it back. Because your attention is your power. And when they have that, they have you, and you've consented to belong to them. So we're going to have presentations about what we're doing as a community. I don't want to just do a tour and rile people up. Everything that I'm talking about, we have ideas, blueprints, plans, decks. I don't even want to share everything in front of the public. I only want people who's serious, right? Because that's the only way that it works. I don't need the whole world, but we need the right people that want to build our world. Y'all ready for that? Are we low level or high level? Are we low level or high level? But let's act like it then. Give a round of applause for my brother, man. Thank you. High level conversation. Tap in with the guy. This is not a one-time event. The idea is to make this a movement. So I need everybody to be signed up so that everybody's data is inside the same system. So when we put calls out, we put the decks out, we talk about the DAOs and the decentralization of the community, we have a call to action that we mobilizing within the next 100 days, and we're gonna see some real action behind it. I wanna be able to share with you all the blueprints that we've been working on. I'm not doing these things in public. I'm only doing them behind the scenes, right? So that we can actually get some real wins, right now. Because my generation, and I'm gonna say it for me, and I don't care who like it, we're not the boycotting generation. I would let the other people do that. And I'm not saying all the ancestors, because I got some gangster ancestors. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is we want action. We want to see things actually built in real time. And if somebody wants to help bring this in fruition, I'm all for it. But if you in the way, I'm gonna get you out the way. And that's just what I'm standing on. And whoever don't like it, they can come see me, right? And I mean that. So when I stand on what I say, I know what type of time we on. I know what these devils are gonna do. And if we don't have a counteraction to that, and it ain't just a sermon, it ain't just the regular Al Sharpton talk, right? It's on that 19 keys time. And I'm saying that this is my age, and who don't like it, again, come see me. But for the rest of y'all, come see me for the right reasons. So we gonna build together. How many of y'all are ready for the evolution? How many of y'all ready to take over and be in control? To actually see a time to where we can say, man, I'm actually excited about the future. We're not waiting on Donald Trump to do shit for us. We're not waiting on Elon Musk and his Doge department to run the world. We ain't waiting on none of that, because I want to show that we can mobilize instantly, right, on the ground and get things done in real time and show people how to utilize influence in a real way. So I need to make sure that everybody, let's go to the other slide, signs up so that we have your data so later on this particular movement continues. Thank y'all for showing up, and thank you for being yourselves. Are you low level or high level? We low level or high level? We low level or high level? Well, let's act like it then. Let's take over the world. Supermind coffee cup. Inside the coffee cup is Supermind coffee. Instant coffee that I take before every episode so that my brain is stimulated and I'm getting all of that neural response. I want to make sure my synapses are connecting. I want to make sure electricity is flowing. The information is there. So I drink this coffee every single day. It got lion's mane, it got cordyceps, and it got a little bit of coffee in it. Now, if you tap in, you too can have high-level conversations. And make sure you give it to the person you're talking to so that they're not dry while they're talking to you. Hey, tap in. Peace, family. I'm 19 Keys. Well, of course I'm 19 Keys, and you're the audience. And I appreciate y'all being here and supporting this channel. Now, if you really want to support and you feel like you've gotten value, please click that little button over there that says like. Make sure you subscribe, and make sure you leave 5 stars for the audio experience. So if you believe my voice is soothing, and you believe that this intellect is stimulating, please help support us so we can continue to support you. We are #1 in the world. We want to take over all the gossip casts, all little rumor boys, all of that stuff, and we want to replace it with high intellectual stimulating conversation that shifts us to the next world. So help me help the world by clicking like, subscribe, and leaving the best 5-star possible review you can. Even if you're using AI to write it, I don't mind, as long as it's positive. Peace.